Rick woke up in the morning and simply felt the urge to throw up, and he ran to the bathroom and kneel on the floor. He threw up in the toilet. Negan came in and kneeled next to him. Rick, he was worried for Rick, and he put his hand on top of Rick's back. Rick finished throwing up, and Negan decides to speak. Rick, I don't want you to go to work today. You're sick, and you need rest. So that's why I'm going to stay home too, Negan informed. Rick took his head and said, I'll stay home, but you need to go to work. We need money. You sure? I just want to make sure you'll be alright, Negan said in a worried tone. Look at Negan. Rick looked at Negan. I'll be fine. I'm just gonna get myself a glass of water and go back to sleep. Negan just nodded and said, okay, but if you need anything, you call me. Will do, Rick replied. Negan stood up and helped Rick up. Negan told Rick he would get him water. And Rick nodded. Rick went back to bed and laid down. Negan grabbed 3 waters, a bottle, and brought them to Rick. Negan got dressed before work and gave Rick a kiss on the forehead before leaving. Negan left for work. Rick woke up in the afternoon and felt better, but he kept feeling like he could be pregnant. But he knew the pregnancy symptoms, so he went to the store and picked up a pregnancy test, and when he got home, he went straight to the to the bathroom, and he went and peed on the pregnancy stick. He waited for 5 minutes, and the result came out positive. He was a bit scared, and he was scared to tell Negan. He decided it would make an appointment with the doctor to confirm whether he's not pregnant or not. Actually pregnant. He called the doctor and made an appointment. And his appointment was In a few days, he was planning on making up a lie Negan wouldn't find out it was also on Saturday. So Rick was glad he wouldn't miss work and thought he would lie about it, going to the store and visiting his friend. What
the hell are you doing?
Rick texts Nick.
Get out!
Negan, that he was feeling much better, so Negan wouldn't worry. Rick made spaghetti for dinner and made brownies for dessert. Negan came home and smelled the food. "Baby, that smells good," Negan said as he walked into the kitchen and wrapped his arms around Rick. From behind, Rick smiled at Negan's touch. "Made all for you," Rick poured. Fuck. "Aren't you a sweetheart?" Negan whispered into his ear. Rick smiled more and said, "Oh, stop it, Negan. I don't think I will." "Fuck, I think you will," Rick grinned as he baked the breast. Brace and grab the bowl of spaghetti off the kitchen counter and take
There's no time. You need to keep up.
it to the table. Rick put the spaghetti on the plate and put it glares. Brace on the plate to Rick sit at the table and Negan join.
What can you tell him?
Rick, the spaghetti is amazing, Negan tell him. "Thank you," Rick says with a smile. I also made dessert." "What is it?" "Double fudge brownie with M&M's," he says, licking his lips. "Bet they're gonna taste like heaven," Negan grunts. "Maybe they will say." as he gets some of the spaghetti with his fork, squealed it.
I'm gonna check outside.
They eat and laugh together. Ford, Negan, and Rick watch
Stop.
a movie romantic. Rick laid his head on Negan's shoulder. A few days later, today was the day of Rick's appointment. Rick told Negan that he was picking Glenn up and that they were going to the store together. Rick was technically not lying since he planned to hang out with Negan after his appointment. He went to his appointment. Dr. Carson told Rick that he was in fact pregnant. He told Rick that he was 6 weeks pregnant. Rick didn't like to hear the news, but he just nodded along with everything Dr. Carson told him. Dr. Carson told Rick that he would need to come back in 2 weeks for another checkup. Rick just nodded. Rick left the appointment and started text Glenn that he was on his way to pick him up. Oh my gosh. Rick made it to Glenn and began cabin and text him that he was here. Glenn came out in a hurry and he ran to Rick's car and got inside and closed the car door. The friends that greeted each other hugged Rick. And started driving and asking Glenn which store they should go to. Glenn reported with Target because he said he needs some new shirts, so that's where they went, and they made it to Target. Glenn and Rick were the men situation. Rick was trying to decide whether or not he should tell Glenn that he was pregnant. Glenn is the best friend and he trusts him. Rick decided would tell Glenn when they get back to the core. Oh my god. Glenn had and said, "You really love Frank Castle, don't you?" Glenn laughed and said, "Well, Frank Castle is the best Marvel character. Dr. Stephen Strange is better." Rick grinned. "Of course you would say that," Glenn chuckled. "He's the best," Rick explained. Keep telling yourself that. But Frank is better. Glenn glanced louder. Rick playfully shoved Glenn, and Glenn shoved him back. They both are laughing. Rick ended up buying Dr. Stephen's shirts. Then they end up in the candle situation, and Rick picked out an apple caramel candle.
Is that what we call these creatures who can't control their nature? Their hunger. What do we call those who destroy them? Ones who kill
Glenn
without thinking.
had
Which is the monster?
over the candle and 10 candles in the cart. Rick thought it was just insane. Glenn, that's a lot
You will
of
be responsible for their actions while they are
candles.
here, Menendez.
Gotcha. Make sure my house smells good, even when people walk in, Glenn explained. Okay. Remind me not to come to your house. I won't remind you, Glenn said with a smirk. Glenn ended up getting 20 different flavors. He said Glenn ended up getting... Okay. They left Target and they put everything in the trunk inside the car and turned to Glenn and said, "Glenn, I have to tell you something." Glenn's eyebrow flamed. His eyebrow. "What?" I'm pregnant, Rick announced. Oh shit, I'm not pregnant. Holy shit, Rick, how many weeks are you? 6 weeks. I just found out today. OMG. Negan must have been happy. I haven't told him yet. What? Why haven't Glenn asked? I'm nervous to tell him. I'm not sure how he'll take it. Rick, he'll be so happy. Are you sure about that? How do you know that? Rick asked. Because he loves kids. He's so good with kids. And also adding, a kid loves him. Rick looked at his frown and smiled. Glenn was right. Negan did love kids. Oh my gosh. You're right. I'll tell him when I'm ready. To make it special for him, right? Rick said. Negan smiled. Not Negan, but Glenn smiled and said, I'm happy for you, Rick. You're going to make an amazing father. Yeah, an amazing father. And yet, the baby's called Tony. Mom. Thanks, Glenn. Rick smiled. Rick dropped Glenn off at his home then went home. When he got home, he found Negan asleep in the bedroom. Rick couldn't help but think about how cute Negan looks when he's asleep. Rick stripped his clothes off and left only his boxers on. Rick got into bed and cuddled up against Negan's chest. Negan opened his eyes and saw Rick smile at him. He returned the smile and kiss. Sweet Rick. Miss you, Negan hummed. Miss you too, Negan. Negan held Rick close to him, and Rick held his head against Negan. Christ, you're so warm, Negan. And you are like a cuddle bear, Negan grunted. Rick laughed, and at the comment, they both fell asleep. And they woke up again. A few hours later, Negan woke up first and yawned and passed his lips against, oh my gosh, Rick's forehead. And Rick Negan to wrist, and he opened his eyes and looked. I'm tired of shit like that. Opened his eyes, and Negan looked at. Hey, sleepyhead, Negan said sweetly. Hi, Rick replied, and smile. Wanna get out of here and get dinner? Negan asked. You mean like a date? Rick said as he scratched his legs and arms out. Stretched his legs and arms out. Yes, Negan purred. So, where are we going? You going to take me, Negan? Negan denied. Yum. To Denny's. Oh yeah. Yum. Rick said, licking his lips. They both got dressed. Negan wore a gray pants and a white t-shirt. with a leather jacket. Rick loves when Negan wears his leather jacket. Negan wore black boots. Rick, on the other hand, wore the dark blue Dom button-down shirt, which Negan loves seeing Rick and Rick wear black pants and brown cowboy boots. Negan loves the look, but he licks his lips at Rick. At the moment, I'll call Negan wanting to do was rip Rick's clothes off and make love to him, but he couldn't do that now since they were both hungry and for food. Oh wow. They got into the car. Negan was the driver since Rick didn't feel like driving, and Negan didn't mind since he loves driving.
Joseph Angelo Zacharias wants to know how to train your dragon. I love that movie. No.
And they make it to Denny's. Negan holds the door opening for Rick, and they sit in the booth across each other, and they told the waitress what they order.
Alright, next, reward your puppy's good behavior. If your puppy obeys a command, reward it with a dog biscuit or something. But it's possible that your puppy might be hungry.
What they order are, and then after that they looked the menu. Rick decided to get pancakes. They're banana pancake with a lot of whipped cream. Rick also ordered a hot chocolate and a cup of water. Negan ordered a beer, which was surprisingly to Rick. Negan also ringed Rick was definitely going to steal some of Negan's onion ring. The witness comes back with the waiters come back with their drink and took their food order.
Every sandcastle ever made has met the same exact fate. A kid with a sunburn and a gap in his front teeth runs up and kicks it over. It's tradition.
Their food came out about 20 minutes later. Negan was bite into his burger, and Rick just took chances in stealing onion rings, a few rings from Negan, and put his burger down and said, "Rick, you can't steal food from my food." Aw, come on, Negan. A couple of share all the time, Rick said as he bite into the onions. Ew. Yeah, ew.
Someone else?
Well, I don't
Josephine
share
wants to
my
know,
food,
how'd you get
Rick.
a party ready?
Well, just letting you know, you won't be getting your onion rings
Care to
back,
take us through the steps for your Halloween party, Orange? Absolutely. I'll get on it right
Rick joked as he took a few more onion rings off Rick's plate. Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Let me just stop you right there. You're inviting real monsters to
Megan
the
gave
party?
him an annoyed look, and
Do you have any idea how
Rick
bad it is to
couldn't
invite a
help
werewolf to a party on a
but
full moon?
laugh.
Vampire's just gonna try and suck your
Megan
blood
quickly
out.
stole a pancake
Did I hear
from
something
Rick's
about a crazed
plate
wombat somewhere on the list? Yeah, you sure did.
and suffered it into his mouth. Hey! Megan chewed it fast, but as he was chewing the pancake,
Party's going to be a disaster, Orange. That wombat is going to wreck the
Rick
entire
was
kitchen.
making him laugh.
Is there a stick of TNT
Because
on the list?
of his reaction, Megan finished the pancake
We've got our guest list pared down to a
off
safe,
and
manageable group.
said
It's time
that
to talk about decorations.
what happens? Oh my god, I'm so tired.
No taste in women.
But she has almost the same uncontrollable temper as yours.
Rick, I get my revenge, Negan smirked at him. So uncool. Well, it started, Negan saying as he crossed his arms. I learned my lesson. Never steal from hungry Negan. Rick grins. You got that right. They ate their food and laughed about things on a Ford, and they went to the park to walk around. Oh, shoot.
Mr. Walker. Oh, am I early? The dentist ready. New Colgate Total Plaque Pro release.
There's a whole world of adventure out there, but you're not gonna find it here. Now, we're talking. This is life when you dare to do the unexpected. When you dare to move.
They went home after that. Negan pushed Rick down on the bed and got on top of him. He started kissing Rick roughly. Negan pulled away and started kissing Rick's neck and leaving a hickey out, but Rick didn't want him to leave a hickey because they would be visible and everybody at work, oh my gosh, will Rick push Negan's face away, and Negan looked back at him and asked him, "What's wrong? Did I do wrong?" "Nothing is. I just don't want you to leave hickeys on my neck. People will see. Oops. And don't want them to see, so they didn't leave any hickey on my neck." And Rick said,
Stop! That isn't mad science. That's just normal science. We're talking big stuff here. Bringing things back to life. We're inventing time travel. We're harnessing enough energy to blow up the
as he let out a frustrated sigh. At the moment, it felt ruined to Negan, and he climbed off of Rick and got off the bed he looked at Rick and said, "You just ruined the moment. I'm gonna go take a shower." "Negan, Rick tried to say, but it was too late. Negan already walked into the bedroom and locked the door. He heard the shower go on. Rick stripped down to his boxers and put on his red shirt. He then turned the lights off and went to bed. Negan finished the shower and wear his gray sweatpants. And black long sleeve shirt.
I'm Bear. And I'm Orange. And it's time for another installment of Round 2. Today the audience wants to know how to get rid of your nightmares. Oh man, I'm sorry to hear you're having nightmares. Maybe this will help. Dude, how is that supposed to help someone who's having nightmares? I was just trying to scare the nightmares away so they wouldn't come back. Alright, just leave this one to me. First, it may be helpful to think of pleasant things before you fall asleep. To help, we've brought the kitchen's resident happy person, Marshmallow. Yay! Hey everyone! If you're having
shirt to bed and climb into, and he felt kind of bad for what he told Rick. He scooched closer to Rick and rubbed his arm around him. He laid his head against Rick's shoulder and fell asleep. Rick smiled at the touch. Oh yeah, this is the writer who made this. I'm a big fan of the Walking Dead fan fiction.
See? Look what you did. You went and scared Marshmallow.
Aw, I'm sorry. What is it, Marshy? What's keeping you awake?
Does Negan want babies? This chapter is a little bit of a smirk. Since it was Sunday, Negan slept, and Rick, on the other hand, was already up for the day, and so he decided he would run some errands. Negan woke up to Rick's missing and a text message. "Where are you? I'm paying the bills. You should have woke me up." So, okay, shut the freak up.
I'm Pear, and this is Orange.
You should have woke me up. So, gosh, Negan, why do you have to be so stubborn?
Okay. Alright, hold the TNT. Jeez.
Alright, today FNAF Dustin wants to know how to survive Freddy Fazbear.
Ooh, I love this question so much.
Have gone with you.
Well, you're the Five Nights at Freddy's expert, Orange, so take it away.
Will do, Parody Poo. Alright, step 1. Make sure you have a camera on Freddy at all times. This is key. Whatever you do not take your camera off Freddy for even one moment, or else he, look, a dancing llama. Sorry, where were we?
I might have. You were bad, Rick. But you love me. Yes, I do. Come home. Why do you miss me so that much? Maybe I'll be home in an hour. That's so long, though. How about I come home with food? Will that make you feel better? Yes, it will, baby. Get some water burger. Okay. Rick returns, coming home with the water burger, and Negan pulled him into a kiss, like, coming home to my loving husband, Rick Glenn. And
No, it was your
I
own
love
shadow,
seeing
dude.
you
I guess that was
every
an extra.
fucking day,
Maybe
Negan
Freddy left and went
growled.
home.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Arrgh.
He's not even trying to attack us at all
The
at this
day
point.
ends up forgetting
Hey
about
there, fruit lovers.
the
Fair
food.
and Orchard,
Negan
kicking
was
off a new
attacking
episode of
Rick
How To.
with kisses.
Luca Gaming wants
He
to know
pushed
how to
Rick
be a good
down
soccer player.
on
Now
the
that's a
couch
question with legs,
and
Luca. Let's take it one
was
step
kissing him
at a
so
time.
much.
Oh, brother.
Step one for anyone looking to succeed at soccer: grow legs if you don't have them.
Negan ripped his shirt off
Ooh, and then grow legs on those legs if you can.
and
You can't have too many foods when
started
you're playing
leaving
football. Soon you'll have so much legs to
trail
kick the soccer ball
of
that you won't know what
kisses
to do.
down his
You
stomach.
can't just grow legs, dude.
Not with
Rick
that attitude, they
couldn't
can't.
help
Step two, practice
but
a whole
moan.
Yeah, now we're talking. Soccer is
But
an extremely difficult game to master, so you'll
out.
have to spend a lot of time and effort honing your game.
Negan,
I've been told that
my
dribbling on a soccer
name.
ball is good practice. I'm not sure why,
Negan
but go ahead and
got
dribble all your
down,
saliva all over the soccer ball for
so
hours on end.
his
Apparently that
pants
helps.
and
Not dribbling on
started
soccer balls,
unzipping
Forrest. Dribbling soccer balls.
Huh? That seems even
his
more
pants and
There's no
pulled
saliva
his
involved in
pants
dribbling a soccer ball.
all the
weird.
way
Of course not.
down
Saliva is
and
replaced by
threw
soccer balls. Ability.
Rick's pants into
Prepare yourself for
the
high-pressure
floor.
situations.
Okay, now this is true. To be great at
I'm
soccer,
gonna
you need to be
make
able to deliver
love
when the stakes
to
are
you
high.
so
Balls are
hard.
a good way to bone this skill. What?
Rick's face
Hair.
replied,
But it's soccer. Why
and
practice on
he said, "I can't wait. I'll be grabbing. I'll be back. Just gonna go grab the loom and condoms." Rick just nodded at him. Negan rushed back. He put the stuff on the table. Oh my gosh. Love you, babe. That is so romantic. The table and kissed Rick once more, before pulling his boxer all the way off. Negan pounced a lot of the lab on his fingers and processed a finger into Rick's entrance. Rick moaned loudly. Negan passed another finger in there and started crossing. Rick opened. Rick loved this part. Negan passed another finger in and scratched Rick carefully once again. Negan finished his grabbing a condom and ripped the package opening. He then begged to unzip his pants. When Rick stopped him, "What?" he asked. Don't use the condoms. I want you to fill me up." Rick, you might get pregnant. I didn't want to take any chances, so... Rick, I'm not ready to become a parent yet. Then when will you be? Rick asked as he sat up on the couch and grabbing a pillow, which laid on his lap. He felt sad. I don't know, Rick, Negan sighed. But don't you love kids? Rick asked. Yes, I like kids, Rick, but I'm just not ready to raise one right now. I need you to understand that. But what if I want one? Rick said, looking away from his husband. Well, then I would say we can try in a few years. We are so busy with our career right now, Negan explained. Tears streaming down Rick's face. Negan scoot closely to him, and was about to wrap his arm around Rick, but Rick stopped him. And don't say, Negan, I don't know. Negan blocked away and asked, why do you suddenly want kids? Rick, because I don't know. Can we just change the subject? Negan just nodded, yeah. He quickly said. Negan walked away and went to the guest room. He needed some alone time, but he lay in the bed and some did thinking. Rick went to the shared room and began to cry quietly. He didn't want Negan to hear him. He was now scared to tell Negan. He felt like Negan would leave if he found out about the pregnancy. Rick didn't want Negan to leave because he loved him so much. Negan was only meant for Rick. Rick had ever fallen for and just can't lose him. Rick didn't know what to do. He decided, I would ask Glenn if he was free. Hey, are you free today? Yes, I am. Can you come over? I need to talk to you in person. Of course. I thank you. I'll be there soon. Rick showed up at Negan's place. And they watched movies at Glenn's place. And they watched movies. Then Rick decided to tell Glenn what happened. Negan doesn't want a baby, Rick said sadly. I want you say that, Glenn asked. Ignore that. I basically told him that I want a kid, and he said not ready to be a parent yet. And now I feel like if I tell him that I'm pregnant. Rick then began to break down. A few sobs left his lips. Glenn put his hand on Rick's shoulder. I feel like he's going to leave me. Rick sobbed. Rick, Negan would never leave you. Glenn softly said. He might. He didn't want a kid. Rick suffered. No, he won't. Negan loved you so much. You mean that entering the world to him. When he tell you he been shocked at first, but he never leave you, Negan said in a smooth voice. Glenn said as a smooth voice. Thank you, Glenn. I needed this. Any time for you, Rick. Rick looked at his friend and pulled him into a hug. And they met up at the bar, and they sat in a booth. Draught, how are things going with Sherry? And Negan asked. Things are going well. I can't believe she's dating me, Daylight said happily. Oh, I'm glad. How are things? Well, for you, Negan, as he sipped and picked up his beer. How are things with you and Rick? Summon asked with a wink. He sighed and said he has a baby forever. I told him I don't want kids right now, and then he started crying. Damn, Summon replied. That's rough. Daylight added. Yeah, Negan said. I love this shit. Is that why you called us? Summon smirked. That's and because I miss you idiots. Negan returns home at 2 a.m. and decided to take a sick day since he didn't feel like getting up early. He just wanted to go to sleep. Negan went home and to his bedroom. He saw that Rick was falling asleep, and he stripped off his clothes quickly and only left his boxers briefs on. He into bed and closed his eyes. Then when Rick opened, Negan was still asleep, which considered to Rick, since Negan is always up before him. Rick tapped Negan's shoulder, and Negan makes a groaning sound. Negan, get up. You'll be late for work, Rick says. Negan opened his eyes slightly and said, I'm calling in sick. Why? He asked. Why? Rick asked. Because I got home late and I'm tired, very, very tired. Okay. And that Rick left for work.
I can't believe this. Why would my girlfriend cheat on me? Behind my back? No way, this can't be real. I just got terminated as CEO by the board of directors. What am I going to do? Wake up. Wake up. Hey, wake up. Oh, what is it? You were sleeping, and I need a t-shirt. Yeah, to your right. Whatever. Was I just dreaming? That's right, I'm still CEO.
weeks later, Rick was already 12 weeks, and he didn't look pregnant, but he knew he would get bigger soon. Rick still had to tell Negan, but was still trying to figure out how he is going to bring the topic up. Rick didn't bring the baby topic up since he didn't want to make Negan mad. It was Friday, and Rick was making breakfast. Negan woke up behind his husband and wrapped his arms around him. Rick smiled at the touch and said, Hey, baby. Negan pounced as he kissed Rick on the ear. So, what shall we do today? Whatever you want to do today, baby, Negan answered. Aren't you being nice? Rick said, smiling. What are you talking about, Rick? I'm always nice, Negan says, as he kissed Rick on his beautiful neck. Fuck, you're so beautiful, Negan telling you me that every day. Rick laughed. Oh my gosh, that is true. It's true, though, Negan replied as he squeezed Rick a little tighter. I love you, Negan. I love you too, my sweet baby, Negan said as he placed a soft kiss on Rick's shoulder. After breakfast, Rick and Negan decided to go to the store. Rick said he needs some new clothes, and Negan, he wanted Rick to do a fashion show. Rick picked up some new nice clothes out and tried them on. Negan wanted to be in the change of the room with Rick, but Rick wouldn't allow him to, and however, oh my gosh, seeing each other's outfit Rick tried on, he did a little fashion. Showing for his husband. Negan loved every second of it, but he, in fact, took pictures of Rick. He told Rick, I'm going to frame the picture, and Rick told him he was not allowed to. When they finished shopping, they stopped by the food and count. They both got quick fill. They both ate and talked about the show they would have watched together. after finishing eating ice cream. Oh wait, after they finished eating ice cream, Rick went to get ice cream. Negan didn't get any. Annie and was trying to get a taste of ice cream. Rick wouldn't let him. They got home and Rick put a new clothes away. Rick put on his pajamas and jumped on the couch. He went on Amazon Prime to search for a TV show, but Negan searched up in his boxers and sat next to Rick. He put an arm around Rick, and Rick laid his head against Negan's shoulder. So, what TV show are we watching? Negan asked. Oh, we are going to watch Jen Eyes. Rick grinned. Oh, come on, Rick. That's so boring. Negan complained. No, it's not. It's boring. And you are going to watch it with me. Fine, but I'm gonna be on my phone the entire time. That's fine, Rick processed. Playing 2 episodes later, Negan got hooked on the show and was asking Rick a lot of questions. Rick couldn't help but smiling at his husband. After the show was over, Negan turned to Rick and kissed him sweetly. He told Rick he loved him for the 15th time. Rick smiled between the kiss. So you like the show, huh? Oh, shut up. Rick and kissed me and Rick kissed me. Negan growled. Rick grinned and kissed Negan back. The next day, Rick and Negan cuddled in the morning and were kissing each other. Negan got on top of Rick and started kissing him more roughly. Rick liked it when Negan gets... Oh, gosh. Okay. Seriously, Negan? First of all, you were like, no. You're not gonna do this to me. You're not gonna do this. Okay. Back on the story. Get like this. Negan ended up making love to Rick. Afterwards, they showed together. After that, Rick decided he would go watch a movie. Negan decided he would go to Walmart since he needs to get some things. But he asked Rick if he wanted to come, but Rick didn't feel like going. Negan was going to have to go by himself. Negan was getting a sock, and when he realized had no more clean socks and he didn't want to wear his dirty sock again, so he went to Rick's drawer, and going through his sock drawer, he noticed a pregnancy stick, and read it positive, and his eyes went wild. Can't be true! He would have told him myself. He needed to answer Rick and was watching at Zombieland when Negan walked up to him and threw the pregnancy stick down at his lap. Rick looked at the stick and then at Negan. I was going to tell you, Rick explained. When were you giving birth? Negan yelled. When are you giving birth? Negan yelled. He couldn't believe Rick would keep this from him. No, I was going to tell you sooner, please. Negan, you have to believe me, Rick said with a sadness. Negan sighed. I wish you would have told me. I wish you would have told me when you found out you can't keep things like that from me. Negan told him and looked at Rick in the eye. Rick looked away and said, I don't know. I know, and I'm sorry, Negan. I'm disappointed in you, Rick, Negan sighed. This made Rick feel even sadder. He could feel tears coming, but he held them in. He didn't like that Negan said was disappointed in him. Rick felt ashamed of him. Negan sighed again. I thought about it for a few minutes, Negan finally spoke up again, and I asked, how is this even possible? I always wear a condom. Well, they only work 90% of the time, Rick said, scratching his head. That's fucking bullshit, Negan said in anger. Don't say anything back. Rick didn't say anything back. Well, what you gonna do, Rick? I wanna keep the baby, Rick said, looking into Negan's eyes. Negan nodded and said, all right, you are fine. With that, asked Rick in a worried leg. His legs were shaking, and he felt like Negan would say no and divorce him, but he was nervous and scared of Negan answering. His hands were shaking too. Negan nodded again. Yeah, I'm gonna be here for you and the baby. I'm not gonna go anywhere. Tears streamed down Rick's face. He felt so relieved, and he pulled Negan into a hug. I thought for a second there you weren't going to leave me, he sobbed. I would never leave you, Rick. You are my everything, and I would love you so much, baby. I love you too, Negan. And they both tried to hug each other. 4 months. 1 month later, Rick was already 4 months pregnant, and all their friends and family knew by then Negan was a lovely husband and is always doing so many things for Rick. Rick was showing a bit. Rick and Negan were going to the doctor for Rick's 4 months appointment, and they're going to find out the gender of the baby. And they make it to the doctor's appointment, and the Dr. Carson did the uterus sound and asked, would you like to know the gender? Rick nodded, and Negan nodded. Yes, said Negan. You two are having a girl. Congratulations. Dr. Carson told them both. Rick had happy tears coming down his face. He was hanging Negan, and Negan was so happy too. And they couldn't believe they were going to be parents. To be a parent, little girl, Carlson gave them a uterus sound photo, which cherished Rick and Negan left and got back into the car to go home. Wanna go to the store and pick out cute baby clothes, as Rick smiled. I would love to, Rick. Yeah, you yelled at him for being pregnant? You guys are boys! Well, that is true. They are boys, but it's a fan fiction. I love fan fiction, so if you TikTokers hate this, don't blame me. This ain't my story. And fuck y'all TikTokers. Except for someone. Except my man. I accept him for who he is. I can't. They went to the store. Rick picked out so many cute baby clothes, and he picked out this cute little dress. I can't wait to be having a father and a daughter dance with her, Rick told Negan. Me too. I wish she could be born already. I want to meet her. He's gonna say something, Negan said. This is my outside, so I'm the narrator to them. Rick smiled even more. You'll be an amazing father, Negan. You be an amazing father too, Rick, Negan said as he passed a kiss to Rick's lips. And they end up buying a lot of baby clothes. And they brought a lot of baby items. And they need to. Another month passed, and both men were having a hard time coming up with a baby name, and they couldn't seem to decide on one. A name. Rick, what about Megan? I don't really like it, Rick, that the 20th name you're rejected. I'm sorry, Negan, but I just don't want to use those names. Maybe we should wait for the baby to arrive. When we see her in person, we will know the perfect name. All right, well, stupid YouTube. All right, well, do that. Rick looked at Negan and a smile at him. Negan returns the smile. 3 weeks passed, and Rick is a week away from his due date, but he is a bit nervous because he knows he's giving birth can be very painful, and he is not ready to go through that. But at the same time, Rick is excited because he can't wait to meet his little one. Negan has been an amazing husband to Rick. Negan is always checking on Rick and asking if he needs anything or he doing. Rick woke up early and looked at the phone. At his phone. The time read 9:30 a.m. He didn't want to get out of bed, but he turned away. Negan was still fast asleep. Rick smiled and cuddled up to Negan and stared and opened his eyes. Sorry, didn't mean to wake you up. It's just a cuddle with Rick explained. Negan smiled and said, "That's all right. I want to cuddle up with you too." And they cuddled up next to each other. And went back to sleep. Rick, wake up again. Negan was gone. Rick, where are you? Bringing you breakfast? Aw, you're so sweet, Negan. Negan picked up some denying breakfast and headed for home. Rick, in the meantime, decided he would shower before Negan got home. Rick showed and got dressed in clean clothes. He wore a hoodie and slacks and laid in bed and watched TikTok videos until Negan got home. Negan got home and went to the bedroom and gave Rick his breakfast and so he could eat. Thank you, Negan. Anytime for you, baby, he said as he got into bed next to Rick. They ate, and Negan told Rick a funny story, which Rick laughed at.
God wants you to read a Bible verse.
If you feel distant from the Lord, it's probably because you haven't
Amen.
been reading Bible.
Warning. Rick gave birth in chapter and there's some blood. Rick was finally 9 months and the baby was due any day now. He couldn't wait to meet her, but he was washing dishes when all of a sudden he felt wetness coming down his leg. His water broke. He yelled, "Negan!" His name loudly. And Negan came running into the kitchen. "My water just broke." "Well, my water broke," Rick yelled loudly. "Oh shit, we are going to have a baby." "Negan, get me some new pants and underwear and get this suitcase that has all the baby stuff in there." And quickly I filled up a pack full of clothes for me. Oh my gosh. Negan ran upstairs and got everything. Within 3 minutes, he helped Rick change out of his dirty clothes into his clean ones. He helped Rick get in the car and threw the suitcase and Rick clothes in the back seat. Negan drove fast to the hospital. Rick could feel the contractions coming. The first one didn't hurt at all, but Rick knew the contractions would get worse, and he wasn't ready for this. They got to the hospital, and Negan helped Rick into the hospital. He gave the nurse Rick's full name, and Rick was taken to an empty labor room. Dr. Carson told Rick he had to take all his clothes off and give Rick hospital gown to wear. And Negan helped him put it on and tied it for Rick. Rick was laying down on the bed with his leg propped up. Negan was putting his hair. "Negan, I'm scared." "Rick, there's nothing to be scared of. I'm here for you." "I know, I'm just scared to give birth. Is all it gonna hurt like hell?" Rick added. "Well, that's true. Ladies will give birth, and it's gonna hurt as heck." "I know, Rick, but it will be over soon enough. And then I'm never getting pregnant again." "You sure about that, Rick?" "Yes, I am, Negan." "Well, let's see how the first one goes." Negan grins. Rick smiled a bit and said, "Negan, can you please get me some ice chips, please?" "Yes, I can, sweetie." What the Negan said as he left to get the ice chips. Negan return 5 minutes and 5 give Rick his ice chips, which Rick started sucking on immediately. Oh gosh. Okay, really? Once again, if you guys hate this, this is not my book. The contractions got worse, and Rick was grinding and growling in pain. Rick, are you? Don't you dare say, are you okay? Rick yelled. Negan whines. And then he asked, well, do you want me to get you anything? No, Rick yelled as another contraction hit. Fuck. 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 I want this baby out of me already. Rick, she will be here shortly. You just got to be patient, Negan said immediately, regretting saying that. Fuck off! You're not the one giving birth. Well, once again, that'd be a lady's doing that too. Negan didn't reply back. Rick continued yelling as the contractions at worse. Dr. Carson came in to check on Rick and to see how far along he was. Dr. Carson told Rick he was almost ready to push since Rick was at the 8 kilometers dilated. Rick was recovering to hear that and wish he would get to 10 kilometers already. Dr. Carson left and said he'll be back shortly. Rick, she's almost here. I wish I was 10 kilometers already so she would get out already. Rick sighed. You be at 10 kilometers soon enough. Better not be another fucking hour. It better not be another fucking hour, Rick said in anger. Can't take this anymore. It hurts so much. Rick looked up and Colin. Negan rubbed his shoulder. Negan rubbed Rick's shoulder and said, I'm sure it won't take long. Another hour passed, and Rick is still at 8 kilometers. And this really pissed Rick off. He was in so much pain, and it too much for him. Negan did everything he could to comfort Rick, and grabbing the tissue and rubbing the sweat off of Rick's forehead and got Rick more ice chips. Dr. Carson stayed in the room, kept checking on Rick. Another hour passed. Rick was finally at 9 kilometers. Rick just wanted to push already, but Dr. Carter said it might take another hour before Rick was at 10 kilometers. Tears were streaming down Rick's face. He was stressing out and was too tired He was so done with Negan continued wiping sweat off Rick's face. He even comforted Rick. He cried in his purse, soft kiss on his forehead, and told him nice things which help a bit the contractions continuing to worse. Negan was by Rick's side, and Rick held onto Negan as he yelled in pain. After another hour, "I need this baby out of me," yelled Rick. "Rick, I know," he has been yelling. "That's hours and over. He means it, and just went it over already. I'm not having another baby after this." Negan refused to go through this horrible pain again. "But Rick, I want to have a million babies of yours," Negan joked. "Oh, fuck off, Negan. You are not getting any more of this babies." "Aw, man," he said. All of a sudden, Rick felt the baby moved. "Fuck, I think she at 10 kilometers. Dr. Carter came over and checked. "You are finally at 10 kilometers. Dilated. It's time for you to push now, Rick." Rick nodded. He grabbed onto Negan tight. He pushed hard and screamed in pain. "Fuck, fuck, fuck." And Rick screamed. "I can see the head," Dr. Carson shouted. Negan let go of Rick and looked. "Holy shit. I wanna feel her head, Rick." Dr. Carson asked. "No, I don't fucking want to. I just want her out of me," Rick shouted. Rick pushed and pushed with so much force he was crowning and shouting at the top of his lungs. Negan let a hold on to him. Finally, the baby slid out onto the doctor's arms, and she was crying. Blood came out of Rick and Negan. Rick laid his head down. It finally was over. Rick was glad. He lay his leg down, and Negan hugged him. "You did amazing, baby. You were so brave," Negan told him. Dr. Carson cut the umbilical cord, closed it with a clamp, and he then brought the baby to Rick and lay her on his chest. Rick and Negan looked at their baby and she was beautiful. Rick said, smiling, she really is. She looked like you, said, smiling. I can't believe she's finally here, Rick said. Me too, and we still have to think of a name, Rick, for her, Rick. How about Reagan? Seriously? Reagan? That's a fan fiction name after you guys. Come on. Sit, Mig. I love it. And they continue adoring their daughter. Rick couldn't get over how gorgeous she looks. She fell asleep on Rick's chest. Dr. Carlson came over to the parents and said one of the nurses going to take the baby and get her clean, and another nurse will take you to another room after we clean you up a bit first. Rick just nod. After all that, Rick was reeling into another room. Rick put on a new hospital gown. Rick had to go to the car and get the baby suitcase and Rick bag of coarse clothes. Whatever. Shit. When Negan came back, he helped Rick into a diaper since Dr. Carson said he would be bleeding a bit, and then Rick helped put on a gray pajama pants. He helped Rick and put on the red sweater since Rick was cold. The last thing Negan helped Rick was putting on socks on him and putting on covers over him. Thank you, Negan. Anything for you, Negan smiled, hoping they bring her to us soon. And they will, don't worry. Rick just nodded and smiled at his husband. Soon after, the nurse rolled Reagan. Come on! They gotta pick a better name for that. They could have picked Andy or Sherry or Linda into the room, and she was in a little hospital crib and was wrapped up in a blanket. Reagan was sleeping. Negan was picking up Reagan and held her for a few minutes, and he couldn't get over how beautiful she was. Rick watched with amaze. You're already an amazing father, Negan. Negan looked at Rick and smiled. You are too sweet. Wanna hold her? Rick nodded. Negan carefully placed Regan in the arms, and they both aimed their daughter. Rick couldn't stop continuing her toes and fingers. She woke up an hour later and was crying up with the storm. Maybe she needs to be changed, Rick said. I'll do it. I don't want you to get out of bed. Negan changed her. Regan changed her, and Regan was happy afterwards. Dressed, Regan is in a pink ready onesie and wrapped her up in a blanket. Negan placed Regan back into Rick's arms. Glenn and Dale are coming tomorrow, Rick told Negan, and they are going to be all over her. Negan grinned. They are definitely. Rick decided to get some rest, and so did Negan. Regan picked Rick, fell fast asleep. Negan held Regan close to him and rocked her also to sleep. Oh, that's cute. Okay, bye-bye, bitch. Warning, there will be some bleeding going on some chapters. On this chapter, getting up and walking was hard for Rick since he was in pain, but Dr. Carter gave Rick some pain medicine to help, and Negan helped Rick to the bathroom. Rick would walk slowly and hold on to Negan. Rick spent the morning watching TV. One of the nurses brought him arboretum and Jello, but Rick was only ate the Jello. Dr. Carson came in and told Rick it would be a good idea if he took a bath. Rick really didn't want to, but he looked after Regan while Negan helped him shower. Plus, it will be good bonding time for Regan and Glenn and Dale. Glenn and Dale are showing up in a few hours. Rick tried to get Regan to lunch into the nipple, but she wouldn't take it, so he would had to feed her by the bottle, which he don't want to Negan took a lot of pictures of Reagan. He posted her all over Instagram. Once again, the nurse helped Rick with Reagan. The latch played Rick, and Reagan latched onto Rick, and after several more tries, she finally latched onto Rick. Thankful for that, Negan took pictures of Reagan feeding Rick. Said no to the pictures, but Negan still took pictures. I feel so gross. Gross, she says. Rick spelled why. Negan asked. I'm soaked with blood down there. Did he say when the bleeding would stop? Negan asked. In about a week, he said. Rick answered. Negan just nodded. I want me to put her in the crib so you can change? Rick, yes, Rick nodded. Negan put sleeping Reagan in the crib and helped Rick to the bathroom. Rick was so thankful to have Negan. Negan helped with so many things. Rick took a nap before his friends showed up. Negan and Dale showed up. How is it feel to be new parents? Asked Glenn as he held Reagan and looked at her in the eyes. Amazing, Rick nodded. Glenn, how about we get ourselves one of these? Dale purposely into Glenn's ear. Glenn chuckled. I would love that. Oh my gosh. Nah! Aren't you guys cute? Negan said with a smile. We are very cute, Glenn added. But Reagan is the cuter, and Rick is Glenn. Do you guys mind watching Reagan while I help Rick shower? Okay, it's not at all. This means we don't mind at all, said Glenn. It's not at all. This means we get to spend time more with Reagan. Dale said and replied as he grabbed Reagan's small hands. Glenn and Dale couldn't stop telling Reagan how beautiful and cute she was. Oh my God, that was so cute to hear. Negan helped Rick in the bathroom. Rick sat down on the shower. Beach and sound. Honestly, I don't want to shower. I know the baby, but you have to. You are dirty, but this won't take long. I don't want you to see all the blood coming out of me. It's gross, Rick said in a disgusting tone. Rick, honey, that won't bother me. Not one bit. I just want to help my husband get clean, and that's it. Rick just nodded. Negan helped Rick out of his clothes and helped him shower. Negan had to help Rick stand on his own. Rick could see the blood coming down his legs and wished Rick's hair and helped Rick wash his back with soapy towel. After the shower, Negan helped Rick dry off and help Rick into clean clothes. Thank you. Negan couldn't have done this without you. Amazing. You know that, right? You, the amazing one. Rick still can't believe you pushed a baby out of you. That a response made Rick chuckle. Aw, there's that pretty smile of yours. So beautiful. Oh, stop, Negan. I will never. Come on, let's get you to the bed so I can finish drawing your hair and climb your hair nicely. Rick smiled a bit. Negan helped Rick back to the bed and put the cover on. Negan dried Rick's hair with a towel so it wouldn't be so wet. Rick and Negan watched as Glenn and Dale talked friendly of their daughter, and they for a few hours. Then Reagan started crying, and Rick started feeding her. Oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? Her, and that's when their friends left. Rick easily, once she was done feeding, he cuddled and held her close. Rick scooted over the hospital bed. Could they lay next to Rick, and they were so tired and ended up falling asleep, but they woke up to Reagan's crying, and Negan took and Negan took care of her. 2 days later, Rick could stand on his own and could walk a bit slower. Dr. Carson told them they could go home today, so they packed everything tonight together, and he took all the stuff to the car. He came back inside. Then, when he came back into the room, Rick was already in the wheelchair. Rick, in his arm, Negan wheeled Rick to the car. He put Reagan in her car seat and buckled her next. He helped to sit in the back seat in case Reagan cries and needs him. Rick puts his seatbelt. Negan got into the passenger side and drove home. Regan and Rick were asleep the entire side. Once inside the house, Negan helped Rick put up the stairs, was carrying Regan up the stairs in her car seat with the one arm and Stan with the other arm. He was already helping. Rick got into bed and asked Negan to bring Regan to him. Negan carefully took his dear husband. Once in their bathroom, Rick got into the bed and asked Negan to bring her to him, and carefully took Regan out of the car seat and gave her to Rick. Rick looked at her, smiled, and he was never going to let her go. He was going to protect her at all costs. He loves her so much. And so did Negan. Negan got everything out of the car and washed some clothes. He made Rick spaghetti and brought his food up to him so Rick could eat in bed. And they end up watching a movie together. I want her to stay a baby forever, Rick said, looking at her. Me too, but also want to watch her at the same time. Growing up, replied. Same, Rick. Negan replied. Rick said, looking up at his husband. Negan placed a kiss on Rick's forehead and loved you, Rick. I love you too, Negan. And that was it. So